He saw the bat waving around. So he thought that Yorahime must be impatient. He then decides to surprise her from behind. He grabbed her melons from behind and then pushed her down, while saying it was too hard to keep it until now, before Yoon could say anything. Dolus removed her skirt and was about to force his way inside. Her body started shivering and she shouted at him to stop. Dolos gets scared after seeing that the one he was about to enter in was YWN. Not Yorahime. He quickly apologized to her. After a while, Yorahime returned to the laundry place and thought it's almost time for him to appear. The laundry was almost finished, so she wondered why isn't he coming after a while. Haeyoung tells Dolus to be honest with him and asked, whom did he go with in the middle of the night? But Dolus replied that he couldn't sleep. So he stopped by the barn after the stroll. Suddenly, Yoon arrived and Haeyoung asked, why is she there again? She said he must be tired from work. So she brought steamed potatoes for him, while Dolus thought that he should apologize properly. She then looked at Dolos and gets nervous. He went close to her and apologized as he mistook her for someone else. Yoon then noticed that Hyung's kurta was torn, so she tells him to take it off. Later at night, in a nearby village, General Quack and his men arrived and decided to rest in a brothel. Before heading back home inside the brothel, a girl was playing some music to impress her master. Her master tells her to stop and said it's been a while since she picked her from the drugstore, so why doesn't she want to perform singing and dancing? The girl asked her to give 3 more days to her so she can learn the dance and singing perfectly. Then a girl arrived and informed the master that the party has arrived. She ordered her to call out the girls that they have been longing for. She also ordered the girl Isel to go and give ready. She said they are all ignorant officers, so she only needs to fill the glasses for the guests, and even if it's someone that desires for her, never reveal her dislike for it. After a while, General and his men were greeted by the girls. Isel decides to serve Yomi while thinking that, unlike the other officers, he looks young and new. Their master was serving the general herself. Isel saw that everyone is obsessed with women, yet this person isn't even showing a slight interest in her. General Quack got excited and tells the master to take off all the difficult clothing, and she suggested moving to another room but in front of him. She had no choice, so she removed her clothes at the same time. Back at his residence, Hyung gets happy after seeing that Yun fixed his kurta. He thought that no one has ever done this much for him before and starts to have a strange feeling. He then imagined a family with Yoon, where he returns from work and was greeted by his children. At the same time, the madam asked Hano about the general as he should have arrived today. Hano tells her that the general stopped at a nearby town first, and madam understood what he meant by that. He looked at the new girl who was with Yoon. He said that she seemed like new and ordered her to come over. He held her face and said Yoon seems to have no interest in her, so she should come by his side as well, but before he could do anything, Yoon stood up and said he has something to say. He apologized to him and said he liked that girl. The general asked if he is telling the truth. So Yoon pulled Isel toward him and said he really liked this girl. The general then starts laughing and picked up the master while saying, let's roll around and play on the blankets. After some time, Isel was inside with Yoon, who asked her why does she work at a brothel. She replied that her mother was also a jisang. One of the VIPs at the brothel, Park fell in love with her mother. In the end, her mother bore the child of Park and that baby was her. Her mother became Park's concubine and they lived at their house. However, grandmother's hatred towards them grew day by day. Every day she get hit by his son too. Park couldn't bear living with them anymore and sent them away to the government hospital. Fortunately, Lord Simisik took them under his wing. But as she grew up, his gaze started to change. Then one day he tells her mother to send her too. His mother replied that she sincerely served him every night. So for her daughter to serve him as well is too much. That made him angry. and from that day he stopped caring for them. After some days of torture, her mother apologized for her actions and agreed to follow his every command. The same night, she asked her mother why she taking a bath, but her mother cried in front of her and apologized for giving birth to her. After some time, she went to Lord Simic's room and asked, what does he need her for at this time? He praised her beauty and said he wants to teach her about acupuncture. He tells her to take all of her clothes and lie down. She replied that man and women were made different by God, so it wouldn't be appropriate, but she knew that she can't anger him at any cost. So she removed her clothes and lie down. He used this excuse to do dirty things with her, like grab her melons, insert his fingers inside her, and many more. After a while, she gets dressed and Simeon asked if she knows about the liquid that serves a woman's body the best. He then starts removing his pajama, while saying the balance in the universe is made from the power of yin and yang. So the best liquid comes from a man's Excalibur. He showed her his sword and said she can rest for now, but tomorrow he will teach her the harmony between yin and yang. After a while, she tried to run from the hospital, but her mother stopped her while saying if she become a runaway slave, she will be thrown to the dogs, but Isel said she'd rather run away and get killed, as it will be better than to be living like a toy for the master. She started crying. She said that with her beauty, she will become a servant of hanging, then only the king would be able to touch her back. At present, she tells Yom that because of her lack of determination and cowardice, she became a geisha. Instead, as a woman, right now, she can only sell her body. She then removed her clothes and said she feel lucky to be able to share her first time with someone like Young. But Young replied that he only wanted his wounds to be treated. He has no other feelings for her, so she can get dressed after a while. Young was going back when he noticed someone attacking him. He dodged the attack and then someone jumped at him. It was Sarum, who said she is not the same person she used to be. So if he underestimate her again, he will get hurt. Young was thinking that if he go all out, then the lady will get hurt. At the same time, Isel explained everything to her master, that she just treated his wounds and then he left. She was thinking that she couldn't play the Geomungo and can't even seduce a man, so they are going to kick her out from there. But to her surprise, the master tells her that the man paid for months' worth of salary for her, and she is the first woman who managed to reach that man. She added that he told her to give Isel one more chance to perfect her skills in music. Isel then quickly ran from there. While saying she has to thank him properly, she reached the jungle and was looking for Young. When she heard the sound of the swords clashing, she went toward the direction of the sound and finds Young fighting with someone. She thought that Young's life is in danger, so she has to help him somehow, Sarum said. Young is sluggish and asked if he is all right. Isel picked a wooden stick from the ground and slowly approached them. Young's story then gets revealed. He was a war orphan that the general brought, because he knew that Young would die if he left him alone. He was going to make him do chores and be a servant, but when the little guy gets a chance, he holds a sword of his size and imitates the soldier. After a few years, he approached the general for a favor that he wished to subdue the barbarians of his own accord. Back at present, Sarum noticed someone attacking her from behind and attacked her, but Young blocked her attack and saved Isel at the last second. He then tells Sarum to calm down, and said this is a geisha from John Serum. Removed her mask and tells him to move while saying that bitch tried to hit her from behind. Isel apologized to Sarum for intervening without knowing that they were sparring because Sir Young seemed to be in danger. Young then tells her to go back as it's already very late. Isel replied that she heard from the lady that he has been a big help to her. That's why she came to thank him for everything. Sarum thought Young doesn't even talk to geisha, so something must have happened. Isel then apologized to Sarum and revealed that Sir Young is gravely injured and begged her to postpone their spa. Sarum asked Young why didn't he tell her that he was hurt, and he replied that he is not that wounded. Isel then said her goodbye and leave. Ying tells Sarum to get on her horse and he will escort her back. Sarum apologized to him for attacking, as she never expected him to be hurt because he is a strong fighter. Young then pats her head and said it's just a scratch so she doesn't have to worry about it, but Sarum replied that she will practice for a bit more. So he had in first while returning. Isel was wondering if that was the eldest daughter of the general. Suddenly, she gets startled to see Lady Sarum in front of her, who ordered her to say the truth. Sarum asked if Young spend time with her tonight, as he came out later than usual, and Isel replied yes. Angered, Sarum pointed her sword at her, but Isel said that they didn't sleep together and that she just only healed his wounds. She tells her everything, how Ying paid for months of salary, so she can improve her skills. Then the next morning, Uriheim arrived outside his room and said she has brought water for her, but so he coldly tells her to leave it by the door and didn't allow her inside. Uriheim wondered what is wrong with Sohee, as she never sounded this cold before, so he was thinking about Hyam, who asked her permission to have a wedding with Uriheim. She then remembered Dulos and Urim moment from before and thought if Uria does that with dollars, then the wedding won't happen. At the same time, the madam asked Bono if the general is still at the base. Honan nervously replied. The general said that he will stay a few more days there. After a while, the madam went to meet Chan Mo and asked if the rice cakes are ready to be gifted. Chan Mo replied they are ready and tells her to come and see. She said the stickiness of the cakes is developing very well. Under Dulos, intense pounding. Madam looked at Dulos pounding the cakes and gets shocked to see his body while returning. She wondered when did the little kid get so manly. She then heard some maids talking that Dulos slept naked in the mill, and his rod was bigger than the eggplant. She then imagined Dulos without his clothes, but then she shook her head after some time. So he was in the backyard and was not feeling well. She then saw Dulos, who was saying that making rice cakes is tiring. Suddenly Uriheim arrived and hugged him from behind. She then tells him to go with him for a second, but before they could go anywhere, they were stopped by Sohee. She asked where they are going, and Uriheim replied that she wanted to relieve him from the fatigue, but Sohee angrily said that a man and a woman aren't the same, so she can't wash his back. She then tells Dulos to go with her, and while they were leaving, Uriheim clenches her fist in inside his room. Dulos asked if she had not take her meals, as she is not looking in high spirit. He tried to leave so he can call a doctor, but so he grabbed his arm and told him to not go and just stay by her side. Dulos sits down and said if there is anything he can do to help, then please command him.